700 million years ago, you could stand on a glacier at the equator. Not a mountain, not the poles, sea level in the tropics. The whole ocean, frozen over, ice a kilometer thick, right around the planet. Snowball Earth. The rocks say it happened, and that it happened more than once. Here's what should bother you. A white planet can never warm up again. So how are you here? A black shirt cooks you, because dark things swallow sunlight. A white shirt throws it back. The planet wears both shirts at once, and it keeps changing how much of each. Dark ocean swallows 94% of the light. Fresh snow throws back over 80. So ice keeps the ground cold, and cold ground makes more ice. The cold builds its own supply. Grow an ice cap, the planet reflects more, so it cools more, so the cap grows. Usually that loop peters out. It does not stay weak because sunlight does not land evenly. Near the poles, it arrives at a slant, smeared thin over a lot of ground. At the equator, it comes straight down. The tropics are where the planet collects its heat. Ice at the poles costs you almost no sunlight. Ice in the tropics costs you a fortune. So the loop stops petering out and starts accelerating. Each stripe of ice makes the next one easier. There is a line where it turns unstoppable. About 30 degrees. Cairo, New Orleans. Past that line, nothing has to push anymore. The cold does the pushing. It runs by itself. White makes cold. Cold makes white. Faster and faster, down to the equator. Every climate model since Boudico in the 1960s finds the same cliff, in the same place. Cold makes white. White makes cold. And past 30 degrees that loop cannot be stopped. So something had to shove the ice down to 30 degrees in the first place. The suspect is a rock. About 720 million years ago, lava flooded what is now northern Canada. Fresh black basalt, the size of a country. And here's the strange thing about fresh rock. It eats carbon dioxide. Rain picks up carbon dioxide and turns into a weak acid. The acid dissolves rock, the way vinegar dulls chalk. The grit washes down rivers and locks into limestone on the seabed. Carbon out of the sky into the floor of the ocean. Fresh volcanic rock does it fastest, and this lot was sitting in the hot, wet tropics, in the rain. Rain plus rock takes carbon dioxide out of the sky and buries it at sea. That is the whole trick. A continent of new rock started eating the greenhouse. The air thinned, the planet cooled, the ice crept down, and at 30 degrees, it fell off the cliff. That is the answer to why it froze. Now here's the trap. The rock ate the greenhouse, the ice took the tropics, and the loop did the rest. A frozen Earth is a mirror. It sends the sunlight straight back out. The whole planet averages about -50, not the poles. The average. Today it is +15. Sea ice ends up over a kilometer thick. Drill down and you pass the tallest building on Earth before you hit water. The young sun was 6% fainter, so it was no help. A mirror cannot warm itself. The ice should still be here today. So what broke it? Joe Kirschvink saw it in 1992, and it is almost funny. The volcanoes never stopped. They kept breathing carbon dioxide into the sky, but the thing that removes it had switched off. No rain, no liquid water. The rock buried under a kilometer of ice. So the carbon dioxide had nowhere to go. It just piled up for millions of years. The sink was gone. The source was not. Carbon dioxide has one talent. It lets sunlight through, but it will not let heat back out. The ground glows with invisible heat, and the gas catches that heat and throws it straight back down. Today, carbon dioxide is 4 parts in 10,000 of the air you breathe. To melt a snowball, you need about 1 part in 8, air you could not breathe and survive. It took the volcanoes somewhere between 4 and 30 million years of patient breathing to get there. Then the mirror cracked and the loop ran backwards. Dark water appears, it drinks the sunlight, and it melts the ice beside it. The melt is violent. Thousands of years, not millions. A whole planet of ice gone. And it does not stop at comfortable. All that gas and no ice left to reflect it. The planet overshoots into a furnace. Hot acid rain strips the bare rock. Rivers dump the debris into a scalding sea. And limestone rains out so fast that it buries the glacier's rubble. Which means every snowball leaves a receipt in the rock. Which is exactly how we caught it. In northern Namibia, you can put your hand on the seam. Glacial rubble, and lying straight on top of it, warm water limestone, deep freeze and furnace, touching. But the thing that really settles it is a compass, frozen inside a stone. A compass needle does not only point north, it also tips. Near the poles, it points almost straight down. At the equator, it lies level. Magnetic specks in settling mud line up like needles, then the mud hardens. The tilt locks in, and it records the latitude. In the Elatina rocks of South Australia, that needle lies level. There were glaciers at sea level within 10 degrees of the equator. A second fingerprint, rusty banded iron back after 1 billion years. Seal an ocean under ice, it loses its oxygen and iron builds up in the dark. Crack the lid and it rusts out in red bands. Rust in the rock, a furnace lying on top of a freezer, and a compass that reads equator. Now the honest part, because scientists still argue about this one. A total freeze is brutal, and algae lived through it, so some argue for a slush ball with open water at the equator. The hard snowball can't point straight back at the compass rocks. It is not settled. And in 2026 it got stranger. The freeze lasted about 57 million years, nearly the whole age of mammals since the dinosaurs. That is too long. The volcanoes should have melted it out sooner. A Harvard team led by Charlotte Minsky modeled the carbon cycle and found a flicker. The planet freezes, melts into a furnace, strips the fresh basalt bare, which eats the sky again, and freezes again. Not one long winter then. A stutter. Freeze, thaw, freeze for tens of millions of years. Either way, the planet went somewhere we could not survive, and it came back. Which leaves the thing I cannot unknow. What froze the Earth and what saved it are the same thing. Volcanoes pushing carbon into the sky. Rain and rock pulling it back down. That is Earth's thermostat, and the good news is that it does work. It kept this planet livable for billions of years, and it hauled us back out of the ice. But it moves the dial over millions of years. We are moving it in a couple of hundred. The thermostat is real. It just runs on geology's clock, not ours. Earth is not fragile. It is not safe either. It has 2 settings, and it has used both of them. 700 million years ago, you could stand on a glacier at the equator. And the only reason you are not standing on that glacier now is that a volcano kept breathing.